The city was asleep, but on the 19th floor, one light was still on. Eli's hands were shaking on the keyboard. His eyes were red. The clock on the wall showed 3:12 a.m. Mr. Carter stood behind him in a perfect suit, not a hair out of place. Mr. Carter, cold voice, stop yawning and type faster. That report must be perfect by morning. Eli swallowed. Sir, I've been here since 8 a.m. yesterday. I didn't even eat dinner. Can I at least go home for 2 hours and come back early? Mr. Carter laughed. You? Go home? You should be grateful you even sit in this office. He leaned closer to Eli's ear. Listen carefully. Poor people don't get to be tired. They just work. All night, if I say so. He slapped a thick file on the desk. Fix every slide. Check every number. If there is one mistake in tomorrow's meeting, you're fired. Eli's eyes filled with tears, but he nodded. Outside the glass window, the whole city looked peaceful. Inside, one poor assistant was fighting sleep, hunger, and fear, with a rich boss watching like a king. If you were in Eli's place, what would you do? That morning, when the day started, Eli was full of hope. He wore his one clean white shirt. He checked it twice for wrinkles. He kissed his sick mother's forehead before leaving their tiny apartment. His mother, weak voice, Eli, don't skip meals. Your health is more important than that job. Eli forced a smile. Once I get my salary this month, I'll buy your medicine. Just a little more struggle, Mama. He worked as an assistant in a big financial company. Rich clients, glass walls, shiny floors. But he earned just enough to pay rent and buy medicine. His boss, Mr. Carter, had everything. Luxury watch, black car with a driver, a big house in the hills. In the office, people moved fast when they heard his footsteps. Good morning, sir, Eli said as Mr. Carter walked in. Mr. Carter didn't even look at him. He just threw his leather bag on the table. Eli, coffee, no sugar, extra hot, and bring me the investor file. All day, Eli ran around, printing documents, fixing slides, answering calls, getting yelled at when something wasn't perfect. Around 5 p.m., everyone knew there was a big investor meeting the next morning. If it went well, the company would get millions. Mr. Carter would get a bonus and maybe a new car. But the report and slides were still not finished. Eli knocked on his door. Sir, should I start working on the meeting slides now? It's a lot of data. Mr. Carter waved his hand without looking up from his phone. Relax. I have a dinner tonight. Just wait. I'll give you the notes later. The hours passed. 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Most staff wore their bags and left. Good night, Eli. The receptionist said softly, You're still here? Yeah, he smiled tiredly. Boss told me to wait. The office slowly became quiet. Lights turned off one by one. At 9:30 p.m., Mr. Carter finally stepped out of his office with his coat in his arm and his car keys in his hand. Eli, he said. Eli stood up quickly. Yes, sir. Mr. Carter dropped a pile of messy papers on Eli's desk. Here are my notes. Turn them into a full report. Make slides. Check all numbers. Add charts. Eli blinked. Right now, sir? Yes, right now. The meeting is at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Eli's voice was small. Sir, the last bus to my area leaves at 11. If I miss... Mr. Carter's face turned hard. Do you want this job or not? Eli's heart dropped. Yes, sir, I want it. Then sit down and work. Only lazy people talk about buses and sleep. I work with winners. Eli tried one last time. Can I at least get overtime pay? My rent is... Mr. Carter cut him off with a sharp laugh. You should pay me for teaching you. Be thankful you're even breathing in my office. He walked away, heading to the elevator. The security guard looked at Eli with sad eyes. Beta, last bus will leave soon. You should go. Eli looked at the pile of papers. He thought of his mother's medicine, his unpaid bills, his fear of losing this job. He sat back down. It's okay, he whispered to himself. I'll manage. Just one night. The office became a prison of silence. The clock ticked. Fans hummed. The city lights shone outside like faraway stars he could never touch. By 1 a.m., his back hurt. His eyes burned. He made graphs, checked formulas, fixed spelling, deleted errors. At 2:30 a.m., the old computer froze for a second. Eli's heart almost stopped. "Please don't crash," he whispered, pressing the keys gently. Finally, at 4:45 a.m., the report was done. Slides were ready. Everything saved in a folder on Mr. Carter's laptop and backed up in Eli's email. He leaned back. His head felt heavy. He could barely keep his eyes open. He sent a message to Mr. Carter. "Sir, everything is ready for the 9 a.m. meeting." Just as he stood up to stretch, his phone buzzed. Mr. Carter replied, "Good. Now delete it from your email. I don't want my assistant keeping company files. Do it and send me a screenshot." Eli sighed. He needed this job. He deleted the email backup. He took a screenshot and sent it. He didn't know that this one message would change everything in just a few hours. He closed his eyes for just 5 minutes on the office sofa, and the sky outside slowly began to turn from black to blue. At 8:30 a.m., the office was bright again. People walked in with fresh faces, hot coffee, and clean clothes. Eli felt like a ghost. He washed his face in the bathroom sink, but the dark circles under his eyes did not go away. His shirt was wrinkled. His hair was messy. His hands shook as he held the files. He bumped into Mia, a junior manager. "Eli, are you okay?" she asked. "You look like you didn't sleep at all." "I didn't," he said softly. "Mr. Carter made me finish everything last night." She frowned. "That's not right." Before she could say more, Mr. Carter's voice echoed. Everyone in the conference room in 5 minutes. The big meeting room looked perfect. Long glass table. Big screen on the wall. Bottles of water neatly placed. At the head of the table sat Mr. Carter, confident and relaxed, in a fresh suit. He looked like he had slept 10 hours and eaten a perfect breakfast. Next to him sat Ms. Grace, the main investor. Calm, smart eyes. Simple but elegant dress. She looked like someone who could read a person in one glance. Eli stood at the corner of the room, holding printed copies of the report. Mr. Carter began. "Good morning, everyone," he said with a charming smile. "We worked very hard on this report. I personally spent the whole night perfecting every detail." Eli's fingers tightened around the papers. He bit his tongue. He wanted to say, "You slept at home. I was the one here all night, sir." But he stayed silent. "Have you ever seen someone take credit for someone else's hard work?" Mr. Carter picked up his laptop and connected it to the screen. "Let me show you the numbers," he said proudly. He clicked on the file. Nothing happened. He clicked again. The screen stayed blank. He frowned slightly and clicked harder. A small message popped up. "File corrupted. Cannot open." The room went silent for a second. Mr. Carter's smile froze. He clicked again. Same message. Ms. Grace raised an eyebrow. "Is there a problem, Mr. Carter?" He forced a laugh. No, just a small technical glitch." Sweat appeared on his forehead. He opened the folder. The report file showed 0 kilobytes. Empty. Dead. His voice became sharp. "Eli," he snapped. "What did you do?" Everyone turned to look at Eli. Eli stepped forward, shocked. "Sir, I saved it. I checked it. It was working when I left the desk at 4:45 a.m. "Oh, so now you're blaming my laptop?" Mr. Carter shouted. "In front of my investor?" Eli's voice trembled. "No, sir. Maybe IT can recover it. Or maybe I can open it from my email backup." Mr. Carter slammed his hand on the table. "You don't have an email backup. You deleted it. Did you forget?" He spoke loudly on purpose, so everyone heard. "You people always make excuses. Always cry about hard work, but can't even save a single file properly." Eli's face turned pale. He remembered that 5 a.m. message. He deleted the only backup because his boss told him to. That same boss was now attacking him in front of everyone. Tears filled his eyes, but he blinked them away. Ms. Grace watched quietly. She noticed Eli's shaking hands. She noticed the dark circles under his eyes. She noticed the way Mr. Carter kept saying "you people" She turned to Eli. "Did you work on this report?" she asked. Eli swallowed. "Yes, ma'am. All night." Mr. Carter interrupted. He just followed orders. "I did the real work." Mia, who had been silent till now, finally spoke. "That's not true," she said. "I left at 8 p.m. yesterday. The report was still a mess. Eli stayed here all night. I saw him still working when I checked the cameras this morning." Everyone turned to her. "Cameras?" Ms. Grace asked. "Yes," Mia replied. "Security send me early morning updates. Today, they sent me footage to confirm who closed the office." She opened her phone and tapped a video. On the screen, everyone saw the lobby camera from last night. At 10 p.m., Mr. Carter walked out of the building, laughing on his phone, car keys in hand. At 3 a.m., they saw Eli walking alone in the hallway, carrying files, eyes half closed. At 4:40 a.m., they saw him still in the office, light on, typing. The video didn't lie. Mr. Carter's face went red, then white. Ms. Grace looked at him with cold anger. "So," she said slowly, "you left at 10 p.m., but told us you were working all night." Mr. Carter tried to smile again. "I was guiding him by phone. You know how poor assistants are. They need strong control. If I don't push them, they never do their job." His words burned. Poor assistants. Eli's chest hurt, but he stayed quiet. Ms. Grace closed her folder. "In that case," she said, "I would like to talk to your CEO and HR. Right now." The room went silent. Everyone looked at Mr. Carter. His perfect morning was starting to crack. 10 minutes later, in another meeting room, the atmosphere was very different. The CEO of the company sat at the head of the smaller table. Next to him, the HR head. On the other side, Ms. Grace, Mr. Carter, and Eli, sitting at the very end, trying to make himself small. The CEO looked tired and disappointed. "Mr. Carter," he said, "Ms. Grace has raised serious concerns." Ms. Grace placed her hands gently on the table. "I don't invest money where people are treated like garbage," she said calmly. She looked at Eli. "This young man worked all night. You humiliated him. You lied about doing his work. You forced him to delete the only backup. And then you shouted at him in front of the entire team for your mistake." Mr. Carter's voice shook now. "Ma'am, investors don't care how assistants are treated. They care about results." "Exactly," she replied. "And the result is you lost the report. He created it. You just destroyed it." The HR head cleared her throat. "Mr. Carter," she said firmly, "this is not the first complaint. We have emails and records. Staff leaving because of your behavior. Shouting. Insults. Forcing late hours without pay." She slid a file across the table. "These are written complaints. Some with screenshots, including that message from 5 a.m. today, where you forced Eli to delete the email backup." Mr. Carter's hands began to tremble. I was protecting company data," he said weakly. The CEO shook his head. "By making him delete the only backup? On the day of our biggest meeting?" Ms. Grace leaned back. "I'm withdrawing my investment if this is the kind of leadership you keep." Mr. Carter panicked. "No, please." "Sir, listen," he turned to the CEO. "You can't let one assistant ruin my whole career." Everyone went quiet at that one word. One assistant. Eli looked down at his worn-out shoes. The CEO stared at Mr. Carter for a long time. "You're right," the CEO finally said. "I can't let one assistant ruin your career." Mr. Carter sighed in relief. Then the CEO finished. "But you're not the assistant. You're the problem." He picked up a paper. "Effective immediately, you are suspended. HR will start termination procedures. You will hand over your project today and leave the building." Those words hit Mr. Carter like a slap. "Terminated?" he whispered. "You're firing me?" Over him, he pointed at Eli with disbelief. "Yes," Ms. Grace said calmly. "Over him, because he knows how to work. And you only know how to step on people." Mr. Carter's eyes filled with anger and then fear. "I have a family," he said. "Kids in school. A house loan. I can't lose this job. Please don't do this." For the first time, He sounded like Eli last night, begging, helpless. Karma had arrived, quick, sharp, in the same building where he thought he was untouchable. The CEO looked at Eli. Eli, he said, I am sorry for what you went through. This should never have happened in our company. Eli's throat was tight. Sir, I just did my job. Ms. Grace smiled softly. And you did it well, she said. Do you think you can rebuild the report if we give you a fresh machine and some rest? Eli nodded slowly. Yes, ma'am. I know the numbers by heart now. She looked impressed. I want him on this project, she told the CEO. If he agrees, I want Eli to be the main analyst I work with, and I want his position officially upgraded, with proper pay and no more all-night torture. Eli's eyes widened. Me? Ma'am, I'm just an assistant. Not anymore if you accept, the CEO said. You earned this. Tears finally rolled down Eli's cheeks. For my mother, he thought. For all those nights I cried alone. He nodded again, this time with a small smile. Yes, I accept. Mr. Carter stood up, shaking. This isn't fair, he whispered. You're choosing a poor boy over me. Ms. Grace looked at him one last time. No, she said. We're choosing character over ego. He picked up his things and left the room, his expensive shoes making lonely sounds in the hallway. A few hours ago, he was the king of the office. Now, he was the one leaving with empty hands. That evening, Eli walked into his small apartment with a bag of groceries and his mother's medicine. His mother looked worried. Why so late again? Did they make you stay all night today, too? He smiled and sat beside her. No, Mama, he said softly. Today they finally saw me. He told her everything. Her eyes filled with tears, but this time they were tears of relief. I told you, she whispered, touching his hair. God is watching. People can be cruel, but heaven is never blind. A week later, Eli sat at a better desk. New computer. New title. Junior analyst. Better pay. Mia came by and placed a cup of tea on his table. You deserve it, she said. He smiled. Thank you for speaking up that day. She shrugged. Someone had to. As for Mr. Carter, rumors said he was trying to find a new job, but people had seen the footage. They had heard the stories. Not many doors were open for him now. One day, Eli saw him outside the building gate. No driver, no fancy car, just a man in a suit that suddenly looked too big. Mr. Carter walked up slowly. Eli, he said quietly, I'm sorry for everything. Eli looked at him for a long moment. You taught me something, sir, he said. Mr. Carter frowned. What? Eli replied, calm but firm, that power without kindness doesn't last, but hard work with respect does. He smiled politely and walked back inside. Mr. Carter watched him go. The roles had changed. Never treat someone like they are less just because they are poor or below you in position. The person you force to stay awake for your success today might be the same person you will stand in front of tomorrow, asking for a second chance. If you saw someone like Eli in real life, would you speak up? Thinking,